What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boys over here at Three Man Weave. I'm your co-host CJ, here with my lovely co-host ZD on this Monday, February 9th evening. Super Bowl just ended yesterday. We won't talk about that. This is Basketball Pod. We just wanted to bring it up. We have a
Yeah,
lot on our docket. We have obviously the Thunder and Lakers talk. Thunder haven't been doing that well. Not really much to talk about, but I'll bring y'all with some content to hear on my side, on losing side of things as of late. But we have talk about the Clippers, man. They traded Zubac. Now they're
yeah,
kind of you
right.
know
What are they gonna do?
what's their future looking like? What their they were able to get a dub the other night. Kawhi willed them to that, and we kind of got accustomed to seeing that. But we're gonna talk about what that roster is gonna be in the future and how they're gonna end up looking at the end of the season, and we're gonna give a MVP race update. There's a lot of
Yeah, yeah,
injuries
yeah.
going on
I
talking
figured on that
about,
as
but
well.
obviously that's something we like to do for the audience. And how you doing today, ZD, on this
I'm
Monday
good, bro.
evening, bro?
Yes, sir. February 9th? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's January's already over. Like you said, Super Bowl was yesterday. Close to All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, I think Wednesday, last couple games. But yeah, bro, I'm doing all right. I'm tired, but I think at this point, you gotta weather that storm, figure it out, just keep going. Lots of stuff to talk about. We got, like you said, we got the Clippers. I think Kawhi and Ivica Zubac and James Harden. That whole situation this season has been interesting. Obviously, trading away James Harden and Ivica Zubac kind of signals that the Clippers are going a different direction. Obviously, Shea getting hurt might change the MVP race a little bit. But the Lakers have been playing a lot better. I think we're like 7-3 over our last 10. I've come on here the last couple of times and spoke pretty highly of us. So I think we're 2-0 over our last two games. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
we played the Sixers. I think we ended up getting a W 119, 115. Joel Embiid, bro, want to talk about him for a sec? He looks awesome. I
He
know we haven't
does.
spoke about him recently, but I know this is part of like the Lakers analysis, but he looked really good, bro. Especially against our weaker interior, right? Jackson Hayes, DeAndre Ayton, Luka Doncic went down 16 minutes or like 14, 15 minutes into the game. Went down with that injury, didn't return. LeBron and AR really stepped it up. I think Austin Reeves was able to get 35 points in 25 minutes. I've spoken about it on this podcast, so we were wondering when he would come back.
Mm-hmm.
He is back. You clip that up because that boy was cooking, man. And we should be, probably all NBA. We'll chop it up about the game requirements a little later in the MVP voting because I think it's interesting
Mm-hmm.
how that will impact, obviously, the NBA end season awards because at the end of the season, you add up all the games missed from some of these players. You're like, damn, like, and Austin Reeves probably isn't going to make an All NBA team, even though he clearly was cooking. Lots of great pace. We played with a ton of continuity. I feel like we were able to lock down when it mattered most. We only gave up 115 in this one. I've said it to you the last couple podcasts, and for the viewers and listeners who are, coming back, welcome. But if you're new here, I get on the Lakers about defense. The last couple games, we've been guarding our asses off. I think we're top 10 in defensive rating over the last 3 or 5 games. I think we're giving up an average of 114 points over the last three. So we've been able to guard extremely well. Like I said, Luka exited the game in the second quarter with a hamstring issue. We beat the Golden State Warriors too. I think what was in the last game, LeBron was playing, no Curry. Just don't know how many battles we're going to get to see of them. We played well though. We only gave up 99 points. LeBron played extremely well, had like 20 in this game. I think it's interesting to see him, still at age 41, be able to like be the main focal point of an offense. Even when Luka goes down, it's nice to have somebody like that who can step up and play a big role. But people know, like you guys know, LeBron and what he can bring to the table. For me, it was Jackson Hayes. Uh, I didn't want to talk about Luke Kennard as well because I told you on the pod, like Gabe Vincent will most likely get traded.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can go back and listen to that. But Luke Kennard debuted 10 points, hit a couple threes. He's a great shooter, top 10 in the NBA 3-point shooting percentage this season. Steps right into the Lakers and immediately becomes probably our best shooter on the squad. So that's something to watch out for. Something I was really excited about in this Warriors game. I think he helped us like in that third quarter. We went on that little third quarter run, kind of separated us from the Warriors. Uh, and we're gonna win a lot of games if we're giving up less than 100 points. I've said that before. I'll say it again. Defense post All Star break is the biggest thing for me to clean up. Going into the playoffs, I think I spoke to CJ about this, but just the defensive continuity, where guys are at in the right spots, making sure that we're all connected is going to be really important for the second half of the season. And to be honest with you guys, there's not much to really say about my team. We've been playing really good, especially on the defensive end. In fact, it's been our offense that's been a little bit chilly at times, and that's been frustrating. But when you got Luca or AR or LeBron, at all times we have somebody who's dangerous in the lineup. So I think our offense will be fine. But what we've been able to do on the defensive end has been awesome. So, I'm not gonna like I don't think you need to go through, the Thunder analysis for 30 minutes, but I would argue right now the Lakers are playing better than the Thunder, right? I think
Yeah,
over the last
100%.
10, you guys are 5-5 and like searching for a little bit of the aura that you guys had earlier in the season. And we're just treading water. I've said it a lot on this pod, but we're going to be between fourth and the seventh seed, eighth seed pretty much all year. And hopefully Luka can take us to the promised land. But this injury brings up another roadblock that you got to get over, bro. But I think adding Luke Kennard and that shooting is going to be nice. And unfortunately, we weren't able to trade Dalton Connect. He's still not getting the game on a consistent basis, like for my liking. Um, but hopefully, in the come playoff time, he can get some more reps because I feel like we just need more shooters. So we got Luke Kennard. I would say that was one of the more underrated deals that happened during the trade deadline. We didn't talk about it because it happened, I think, the day after we did the pod.
Hmm.
So yeah, bro. 2-0 over the last two games. I'm not complaining, bro. It's just I think right now it's like the season is like at a midpoint. It's at a stopping point. Everybody's tired. I've said it a lot. Tired legs. People are just trying to get to the All Star break, and so it's nice to see the Lakers not stumbling into the All Star break. We've performed pretty well.
No, yeah, it's like you said, the Lakers are definitely a better team as of right now compared to the Thunder, but just kind of like my little Thunder analysis, Thunder talk for the pod. We lost 116-106 to the Spurs on Saturday or Friday, I believe. Um I told ZD this and it sucks saying this, but heading into these next couple games, not expecting to get blown out, but I'm expecting a loss. It sucks to say that. Obviously, we're down a lot of guys, so um, that's kind of my reasoning. But just wanted to bring up just I talk about it a lot throughout the whole season, but just the depth of our team. The fact that we are still able to compete with a Spurs team that has had our number and has had a lot of teams' number this whole year. We're able to still make it a competitive game. Obviously, a 10-point loss, but they were beating us by I think 17 at a certain point in the game, and we were battling back. It's just they blitzed us that first quarter, and I talk about it a lot. Obviously, being down Shea, it's kind of hard to have that same oh yeah, we're still in this game type of vibe with this roster, but just what they've been able to do, shout out to Case Wallace. He's been playing at an incredible level since AJ
He's been
Mitchell,
awesome.
Shea's been injured. Um,
He's
Isaiah
been awesome.
Joe has been fantastic. You know what I mean? I think he's kind of showing why he is, so valuable for us. And whenever he misses time, we kind of, like how you were saying with Luke Kennard, how he's, he stepped in being y'all's best shooter. That's what Isaiah Joe's been for us, and he's been in and out. But whenever he's been playing, he's a flamethrower. He could get it going in a quarter and
100%.
hit 3 4 threes in a quarter, whatever it may be. But just what he's been able to do these past games, in the absence of a lot of players, I think Jalen Williams, Jay Will, had a fantastic game against the Spurs. 24 and 12 as a player that's kind of been, he hasn't really been getting a lot of minutes. I would say he's beginning a lot recently and probably a lot more as like injuries are coming along, but he's been injured himself. So, just the fact that we have these type of players where they can miss time, not really get any playing time throughout the season whenever the roster is fully healthy, someone gets injured, they step right into the role and are able to, do well and actually contribute to competitive basketball. That's all I can really ask for at this point. Like I said, not really expecting to get a lot of dubs with the Shea injury, with the J Dub injury. Obviously, he's coming back tonight, but he's missed, I think, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it may be. iHeart was injured this game. He actually came back, yeah, the game against the Rockets, where that was also a really competitive game. And like I said, it's just we can only do so much. You know what I mean? Sengun had a triple double, I think, like pretty much going into or coming into the third quarter, whatever it is. So he was kind of dominating us all game. Jabari Smith was getting it going. KD obviously was getting to it. It was a lot to ask of the guys to really try to keep up with that. Obviously, we're able to hold them to 112, which I think it says a lot about just how well defensively we are as a unit. The fact that we're having the 12th, 13th guy on the roster, getting starter minutes right now. But another fantastic performance from Isaiah Joe coming off the bench, scoring 21. I think, that's, like I said, he's that type of person that can just change a game for us. But Cason Wallace this game as well. He's been, like I said, just when he has the opportunity to be able to, initiate the offense and be aggressive and go to the rim, I think he's kind of shown his capability. So it's just, whenever, that's why I drafted him on my dynasty side note. But I had to put him on my taxi because, whenever the roster is healthy, he's not really able to do what he's doing right now. But he showed glimpses. So, like I said, the roster and what I'm looking at isn't, obviously I'm trying to, I want my team to win, but at this point it's just kind of seeing who really is, that guy and can step up in these moments throughout the season because, we're going to need this come playoff time. There's no telling who's going to be injured at this point for us. We haven't been healthy all year. So it's like, hopefully we get healthy by the time playoff starts. But if we're not, we have an Isaiah Joe, a Cason Wallace that could take these
Jerry
reps,
McCain.
these moments of the game. Yeah, and Jared McCain, he also got his debut for the Thunder, hit a three, and like I said, that's kind of where what I just want to see it with the full roster. It sucks because the shots that he'll be able to make and take
Take that.
whenever the
Yeah.
Shay's there, J Dub's there, he's gonna have a lot more open looks. So just ready to see what that looks like. But iHeart came back this game. Got 11 assists. It was a career high. So playmaking from our big. I think that's something I talk about a lot. Even when the roster is healthy, he's kind of doing that. So the fact that we have that from him, I think it's just another great way to have offense going in the half court sets. Because I feel like that when we don't have Shea, that's kind of where our team lacks and where we struggle whenever Shea isn't in there, J Dub's not in. Who else is going to be able to get the offense going? And the fact that he was able to get that, I think it's a good sign for us coming into the All-Star break and then even after that. But yeah, no, it's been tough times for me right now. You're 2-0 over the last two. I'm 0-2. Lost against great teams, playoff teams, but it's not a good thing to be losing all the time. So hopefully,
No.
All-Star break comes, everyone kind of gets healthy. I think we're talking about the Shea injury, right? I think they said he's gonna come back after the All-Star break. So I don't know what that looks like, how many games we played. I think this is our third or fourth game without him. So, it's not one of those, it's a good time to get an injury, but I think the circumstances where we're at in the standings, obviously no lead games wise is really safe in the West, but I think this was a good time for Shea to get injured because it's not like he's missing 2-3 full weeks of games, where it could be a 12 games in
Exactly.
that time frame. It's like
Yeah,
half of
like
that.
how it was for Yoke.
Exactly. So but no, yeah, haven't been able to get wins, but I've been really impressed with the depth, and I think it kind of just justifies what I've been saying all season. I think we still do have the best bench. We just don't have our best player or even our third best. Or we have Chet, but we don't have J Dub. We're missing a lot of AJ Mitchell, Caruso. A lot of guys that could
Mm,
help us win games. We don't have that right now, so it's kind of having that second unit, even the bench players coming in and play competitive basketball. Like I said, it's just getting me ready, seeing who's gonna be doing this later on in the year. Because if you could do it without our best player, you could do it beside them. So that's my Thunder talk. What isn't the how I usually say, going crazy, doing these things, getting dubs, but like I said, super impressed nonetheless with the way they've been playing and they've been competing, bro. And I think that's all I could really ask for, especially in this moment of the season when where we're at. Just get healthy after All Star break. Kind of, hopefully everyone kind of gets back into the flow of things, and we could start it off right because we're still the number one team in the West. But like I said, that lead is gonna slowly be shrinking with us, dropping some games right now. But I'm excited, bro. I like the way they look. Isaiah Joe, that's kind of like my player who's been killing, and Cason Wallace, just seeing what he can do whenever he has the primary ball handler duties for the roster.
Yeah, 100%. I've spoke about this a few times, but the Thunder are, you know, anytime they lose, it's a big deal. I think the Pistons are the number one team in the NBA, if you want to say so. I think that they're a little bit more motivated to win in the regular season. I don't think the Thunder are trying to win in the regular season, contrary to popular belief. But for what they've been able to do, you gotta give credit to them. Hats off to them. I think Sam Presti's done a great job, Mark Daigneault, but they've played through a lot of injuries. I know the Lakers have as well, but a lot of teams
A lot
have,
of
right? But I think the Thunder specifically, given the landscape of the NBA, just with how the East is shaking up, I think they deserve a lot of credit for getting this far. So I think they're just trying to get to the All Star break, bro, like you said, and
surviving.
Isaiah Joe and yeah, surviving Jalen Williams.
Hmm.
Obviously, J Dub comes back
Yeah, yeah.
today, but that game is kind of blown up. Luca Shea will be out. We'll talk about that here in a second. But yeah, I think for like the Thunder haters out there, here you go, right? Like here's
Right.
the cake. You want to eat your chocolate cake, you can eat it now. They're not winning games. That's fine. Still number one in net rating for the season. Still number one in the West. Yeah, that's my take on the Thunder. I think they're just trying to get to the playoffs, and I feel like the Lakers are too, but the Thunder are just more dangerous in that position, right? Like
Hmm.
I think the Lakers are like what? We're even on net rating. We're like even zero for the
Hmm.
entire year, so we're like pretty good on offense and not so great on defense, which makes our team like perfectly evened out. So
Hmm.
it's kind of where the Lakers are, but yeah, man, I think we got a couple games tonight. Wednesday's a full slate. Run through the previews. And we got our storylines of the week, man.
Hmm.
And that'll be fun to chop it up about that. So get into these games. Today is February 9th. Right now it's almost 8 p.m. Central. Yeah, this game happened 2 hours ago. So first game of the day, 6 p.m. game versus Pistons versus Hornets. Pistons are on the road. Hornets are at home. Excuse me. The Pistons are missing Ron Holm the third. Jalen Duren is listed as a game time decision, and the Hornets are without Kobe White, who I don't know if you heard had that calf injury that was unbeknownst to the Hornets
Yeah,
in
that's crazy.
Chicago. Was forced to add a second round pick in that deal. They were forced to amend that deal because of Kobe White's new injury. So Kobe White might be out for a little while. So that sucks for him. But storylines for this one, man. Over the last 15 games, the Hornets actually rank first in the NBA in offensive rating, scoring 121.5 points per 100. CJ and I have spoken about this on this podcast for the last couple weeks, but pretty much everybody's been talking about it. The Hornets have been cooking. They're here to stay. 10th in the East right now. Most likely will make the play-in. I think you spoke about that a while ago, a couple months back, but they're good, bro. They think that lineup with Diabate, Knuppel, Ball, Miller, um, I forget the last guy, but I think they're like plus 30. They
Mm.
have the best starting five lineup in the NBA right now.
Mm.
They
Is
haven't
it
played a lot
Bridges?
of minutes. I think it might be Bridges, but I think they've only played like 230 minutes together, so it's not like crazy. Um, but it's like a pretty big sample size, and they're like
Mm.
plus 30. I heard that on the Hoop Collective today, so that's pretty big deal for Charlotte. C-Day trivia for you. When's the last time the Hornets made the playoffs?
Ooh. That's a good question, bro.
I know it is. Got to think for a second because they weren't. Uh, there was a point uh, between 2012 to now. Like
It
they've
was
been
it was okay, yeah. It had to be with Kimba, right? Was it like 2014,
close.
2015?
2015,
Mm.
2016. So yes, sir. With
Who they play?
Kemba,
Who they play?
I forget. I think 7 game series. Let's look it up real quick because I forget they played well too.
Yeah, I was
Let's
gonna
go
say
look it up.
7 game series. I
Yeah, I think it's a 7 game series. Let's see what they played, man. Heat,
Heat. Mm.
the Heat,
Oh, okay,
the
yeah.
Heat, the Heat. Yeah, Miami wins 4-3. 7 game series. So that was the last
Oh,
time.
was that when
Charlotte.
D Wade was going crazy?
Yeah, bro.
Okay, I
I was
do
gonna say
remember
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
do remember
But
that
you
actually.
might faintly remember that, bro.
I do.
Reason I bring that up is like they got a chance now, right? That's why one of the storylines is obviously number one in the league in scoring. Like you just said, the last time they were there it was like when D Wade was cooking them, so you gotta give them credit. They're
Mhm.
also 12-3 over that span, over 15 game span, which also ranks first in the NBA too. So in win loss record, right? So they've been winning games. They're probably going to the play in at least this year, which means they'll make the playoffs if possible,
Mhm.
at least have that taste, right, and get that experience. So we'll see, man. Shout out to Charlotte. I know they're buzzing, as we like to say. But Detroit, they rank first in the NBA defensive rating over the last 15 games, allowing just 103.9 points per 100. Detroit also ranks second in overall net rating over that span, plus 11, trailing Charlotte by 1.3 net rating points. So the Hornets have a plus 12.3, and obviously Detroit has a plus 11. Pretty crazy. One and two teams pretty much in the league right now.
Mhm.
And that's with the Thunder, right? Because the Thunder are cold. So these are the best teams in the league. Pistons versus Hornets. Banger probably of the game. I'm not sure what the score was, but I'm excited to watch the recap of this one, man. I'm gonna go with the Pistons. They just recently got I think they're the number one power ranked team in the NBA as of now. And so I gotta stick with those guys, man. If Jalen Durham went, that's definitely who I'm rocking with. But what about you, brother?
Same, bro. Pistons, that just the way they've been playing, man, all season long. Cade playing, at an MVP
Bro,
type
Cade.
level. Just what they've been able to do, like you said, Duran being able to get that first All Star appearance. Yeah, I think they're gonna be rocking. And you said it earlier. I don't know if you said it on the pod, but just seems like they have a little more juice. Like they're wanting to do good in the regular season, and the Thunder are kind of coasting. They're wanting to prove that they are the best team in the league. So I think they're gonna make a statement tonight. I think the Pistons end up getting this dub.
Yes, sir. Do you mind spoiling it for me?
Oh yeah, it's 86-72, 340 in the third.
Pistons.
Pistons, yeah.
All right. Well, there you guys go. All right. Next game. This one was at 6:30. So 2 hours ago or 2.5 hours ago now. But Bulls versus Nets. Bulls are on the road. Nets are at home. The Bulls are missing Zach Collins and Noah Essengay, who's out for the season. Josh Giddey, Jalen Smith, and Trey Jones are listed as game time decisions. The Nets are going to be without Yegor Denham and Michael Porter Jr., so two of their main stars this season. Yegor Denham, surprised he wasn't in the 3-point contest. I might as well bring it up now. You see Lillard, bro.
Yeah. How did how? How is he in a 3-point contest? He hasn't even played this year.
Yeah, well, Nets faithful were saying Jaeger should have been in there, and for good reason. Obviously, he's
Yeah.
shooting 39, 40% or whatever. But I think it's cool. Lillard is in there. He might give you guys like I think he's like one of the greatest shooters ever. So I don't really have a problem with it. I know it's definitely troll as hell,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's sad because I
There's
mean the
other
net
people that could have had
basically
the opportunity.
right, exactly, and the Nets are punting games. That's
Right.
another thing I was gonna bring up. Some of these teams are punting
Yeah.
already, and so. Uh, it's just like we're not even at the All-Star break yet. And kind of CJ's point, it would be nice to see him in the competition like that, obviously being a rookie,
Hmm.
but I think he's sitting not because he's hurt, but because they're both too good. So going into the storylines for this matchup, over the last 10 games, the Nets ranked last in the NBA in overall net rating with a minus 17.1. So they've been horrible. Over
Sheesh.
that same span, the Nets are just 2-8 and ranked 27th in defensive rating as well. So they're allowing 120.4 points per 100, which is absolutely horrendous. Chicago over their last 10 games are 3-7 and ranked 28th in the NBA in defensive rating, allowing 120.7 points per 100. Chicago also ranks 29th in the NBA in overall net rating over that same span with a minus 10. So both of these teams are pretty much on the other side of the first matchup. They are not doing well. Chicago made all those trades at the deadline. We didn't really know what, like the direction that they were going in. Obviously, getting Simons and Ivy,
Hmm.
trading away Desumnu, trading away Vucevic. We're gonna have to see what the culmination of guards ends up to be in Chicago. I'm gonna go with Brooklyn, even though they are missing their key guys. I feel like their roster just is gonna play harder.
Hmm.
And I feel like Danny Wolf, they have a little bit of a, Nolan Traore. They have a couple more pieces that I personally like a little bit more compared to the Bulls. But who do you think wins this matchup?
I'm right with you, bro. I feel like the Bulls just like getting all those guards, not really knowing who's gonna be the main guy. Like there's a lot of they have
It's
like the same
weird.
players. It's weird. It's a weird fit. So like you said, I think the Nets probably end up getting this dub as
Rob,
well. Yeah,
I think Rob well, did.
Rob too. Yeah.
I don't know if Rob. Yeah, I don't know if Rob's played yet, but I know Simons went. Simons was great, bro. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna lie to you. I think that's a good trade, but outside of that, we'll see. I know Simons won't. He's not gonna command the $200 million that was originally expected. So, if you're paying him $100 million for 4 years, I think that could
Yeah.
end up being a good contract.
Hmm.
Um, but that's about it for me on that side. I feel like the Nets just have a more complete team. They're building towards something. They
Hmm.
have more assets, right? They have more first round picks. They have their pick this year, and who knows where that will end up? Maybe they get the one seed. So or the
Hmm.
one seed,
One pick.
the
Yeah,
number
number
one
one.
pick. Yeah,
Hmm.
the one seed. They're not touching the one seed.
Not anytime soon, at
Not gonna,
least.
not anytime soon.
Yes, sir. Going into the next tip off, it was at 6:30. We have the Jazz versus Heat. The Jazz are missing Keontae George and Walker Kessler. The Heat have listed Terry Rozier as out. Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, and Pelly Larson are listed as a game time decision. And some storylines for this game. Miami ranks first in the NBA in defensive rating over their last 5 games, allowing just 103 points per 100. The Jazz rank sixth in the NBA in 3 point shooting percentage over their last 3 games, shooting 38.9 from three. This is the second matchup between the Jazz and the Heat this season. In their last matchup on January 24th, Miami defeated Utah 147 to 116 as Miami shot 40% from three. Um, we talked about the Jazz, whenever they got Triple J, I was kind of hesitant to think if they were going to be tanking with this. I think we know the answer to that, bro. We've seen the clips, feel like everyone's kind of talking about it. They're blatantly just throwing games away. So I think this is the Heat.
Yeah,
I'm off of that alone. Obviously, we know that they can. Obviously, Keontae George being out obviously makes a difference, but Lowry, Triple J, I mean, they have their moments. They could do great, but I just don't think they have enough, and they don't really care to win games at this point. So I'm going Heat with this one, bro. Uh, they're trying to get that their first round pick this year, so credit to them, I guess. But it's obviously it sucks seeing as a
yeah.
basketball fan that a team just they're coming back. I mean, you saw it. I'm pretty sure everyone saw it too. But just they're down by whatever 12, whatever it is, with like 3 minutes left in the third, and they're already sitting there. Triple J, Lowry, everyone. So it sucks to see it as a basketball fan, bro. But I guess I get it. But it's not the greatest product that we're running as fans. But going with the Heat on
And
this one,
I
what you
was,
think?
I was, I was gonna say, CJ, I'm so disappointed because I heard on the podcast Brian Windhorst, the Wizards beat the Detroit.
Mm-hmm. They
The
did.
Wizards were pissed they got a win. They were pissed. Like they like they weren't happy.
Yeah.
They were pissed.
Yeah.
They were like, what? Like their front office was like, what? We won. Like that's like you're saying how bad the tanking has gotten
Right.
to the point where teams are pissed off that they've gotten to win. You
Mm,
know, it's no longer about being like prideful and playing for the dirt. Nah, like they're like we need draft capital now. And like you said, I think I gotta go with the Heat because the Jazz are similar to the Wizards. They're punting games, and at this point, it's like Operation Fade the Jazz, Wizards, Nets. You know,
hmm.
teams that are pretty much hopeless.
Yeah. Yeah. Sucks to see it, bro. Like I said, but like I said, going Heat in this one as well. We got the next matchup though, Bucks versus Magic. It's also at 6:30 p.m. tip off. The Bucks are missing Giannis and Torian Prince. The Magic have listed Colin Castleton as out, and Franz Wagner is listed as a game time decision. I think he ended up going though. I have him on my dynasty. That's the only reason why I know. Some storylines for this game. The Bucks have ranked 24th in the NBA in overall net rating over their last 10 games at a minus 6.8, and Orlando ranks 25th in overall net rating with a minus 7.7 over that same span. The Magic ranked 28th in the NBA in offensive rating, scoring just 109.2 points per 100. Luckily for them, Milwaukee ranks 25th in defensive rating, allowing 118.4 points per 100 over their last 10. Over their last 15 games, the Bucks are 6-9 and the Magic are 7-8. So, pretty evenly matchup if you want to say that, both at the bottom of
Right.
the net ratings and offensive efficiency and
Very steep
whatnot,
up.
but um you saw Cam Thomas sign with the Bucks, right? I don't know if he's going.
Mm,
I don't think so, but they got him. But even with that,
I did see that.
I think I got to go with the Magic, bro. They've been super streaky. They've had moments. Desmond Bain has had games where he's going off. He's showing us why they traded fucking 4 picks for him, 4 first round picks. But it's just been, I think, not having Franz Paolo on the court at the same time obviously makes such a huge difference for them, and I think we've been seeing that. Their defense hasn't been good either. I feel like that's something that they held their head high on these past 2 seasons, 3 seasons, whatever it is, and kind of has gone out the water, and they're kind of getting stepped on, and acting like they're the at the bottom of the league in defense rating. So kind of leaning towards the Magic, but just is Paolo going to have a good game? Is Franz gonna have a good game as well? That's kind of where they rely so heavily on. But I got to go with the Magic, I guess. This is kind of one of those teams where it's kind of a toss up for me, but I just going with the star power. I think I got the Magic in this one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, brother. I feel like they have just a little bit more to offer, right? But we'll see. They haven't been playing great.
At all.
Bucks, but anything is possible. I feel like Ryan Rollins, when he's in the lineup, I feel like they always got a chance. And Orlando's been struggling a lot, so we'll see. But I got to go with Orlando as well. There's the star power. To your point, man, I feel like they'll be a little bit better.
Mm.
But let's go into the next game though. This game was at 7 p.m. Let's see, it's 8 p.m. now, so it was about an hour ago. Hawks T Wolves. Hawks were on the road. The T Wolves are at home. The Hawks have listed Jonathan Kuminga as out. Dyson Daniels is listed as a game time decision, and the T Wolves have listed Terrence Shannon Jr. as a game time decision. He's the only player on the injury report for them, so hopefully he ended up going. Because if so, the T Wolves don't have any injured players, so that's always
Mm.
good to see. Over the last 5 games, the T Wolves ranked fifth in the NBA in offensive rating, scoring 119.8 points per 100. The Hawks, over that same span, ranked 16th in offensive rating, scoring 114.9 points per 100. Both teams playing pretty well on offense. Jalen Johnson being the catalyst. I know you may have seen this on Twitter, but I think he's got the most 30, 10, and 10 games by a player under 25 this season. So
Mm.
I mean, he's performing at an extremely high level. I think Ant had 41, 42 points the other day as well. I know they did lose to the Clippers. Rudy Gobert called out their effort, but I feel like the Timberwolves are that sleeping giant that CJ and I have been talking about all year. Back-to-back Western Conference Finals appearances. They're like one piece away from getting over the hump. They've been playing a lot better on offense, so that's been good to see. I think this is like an offensive game, bro. Nikhil Alexander Walker, versus Ant, Julius Randle. We're gonna see, man. We're gonna see what these guys are capable of. This is the second matchup of the season as well between the T Wolves and the Hawks. In their last game, the Hawks defeated Minnesota 126 to 102. Atlanta shot 49% from the field and shot 16 to 42 from deep, which is 38% from 3-point land. So, yeah, Atlanta getting the W versus Minnesota. Honestly, I'm gonna go with the Hawks. I feel like this is like a sleeper game. I feel like most people will go with the T Wolves because they're at home. It might be a bounce back spot, but I feel like Atlanta just has their number and they're a really good matchup. And I feel like Onyeka Okongwu is going to be able to force Rudy Gobert to come out of the paint. Jalen Johnson's going to get busy. So yeah, I got to go with the Hawks.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I'm. This is a. I think this, like you said, it's gonna be like a sleeper good game. It's one of those like you said, kind of you might see it and like, oh, I don't know, but I think the Hawks, like you said, the way that Jalen
Yeah,
Johnson's been
yeah,
playing, Nah has been playing. I think they're playing really well, but so are the team. Oh man, this. I think I'm going Hawks. I'll go Hawks. I think
ooh,
it's gonna be a problem. Jalen Johnson, he's gonna get busy. I think Nikhil Alexander Walker is gonna have him game. Coming back to Minnesota, a little revenge game type of vibe. I think he's gonna have a little legacy game. Some might say, but I'm going with Hawks in this one. I think it's gonna be a banger though.
yeah, bro, 100%. And we're gonna see, bro. We're gonna see what it has to offer. So that game was at 7. I don't know what the score is in that one, but hopefully our Hawks are getting the W. Next one though, this game was also at 7. Kings versus Pelicans. Kings are on the road. Pelicans are at home. Pelicans have listed DeJounte Murray is out. He's been out pretty much all year. The Kings have listed Zach LaVine, Malik Monk, and DeAndre Hunter as out. So Sabonis is also listed as a game time decision. Hopefully Sacramento gets healthy soon because most of their guys are also out. But over the last 5 games, Sacramento Kings rank 11th in the NBA in offensive rating, scoring 116 points per 100. Over that same span, New Orleans ranks 19th in the NBA defensive rating, allowing 117.4 points per 100. So both of these teams are kind of on similar sides. We've seen Sacramento really struggle. I want to also say they're on the 10-game losing streak, CJ. I think that's the
Hmm.
longest streak in the NBA at the time. Sacramento and New Orleans are, I think, a combined 4 of 16 over their last 20 games. So over the last 10 combined, they've only gotten 4 wins. All 4 of those wins have come from New Orleans. So
Mm.
I don't know, man. This is kind of like battle of the worst right now. Give me the Pelicans because they're not on a 10-game winning or losing streak. I feel like those guys have also played a little bit better, together. We spoke about this draft class from this year: Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen.
Hmm.
Zion's played, I think, 28 consecutive games, which is
Yeah.
his career long.
Yep.
So I
Trey
wanted to
Trey
shout him out
Murphy
as
too.
well. We haven't
Yeah.
spoken about,
Hmm.
yeah, Trey Murphy. Give me the Pelicans, brother.
Yeah, I'm leaning Pels too, bro. The Kings, man. I feel like we always talk about them. That's your
They're
hometown
they're not
team. They're
good.
they're not good, bro. And it sucks. Like
Their management.
it's terrible. So I gotta go Pels. I mean, they're not much better, but I think they're better than the Kings. So going with the Pels, Derek Queen. I think he's gonna have a good game. I think Sabonis is out, so they've been having him in and out the lineup. They haven't really had anyone to. They don't have anyone to build their team off of. So I think the Pels just have a better roster, and I think they're gonna be able to get this dub at home as well. Sir.
There you go.
Going into the 8 o'clock tip off, 8 p.m. tip off. Sorry, we have the Cavs versus Nuggets. The Cavs are missing Max Struess and Evan Mobley. Dean Wade and Jalen Tyson are listed as game time decisions, and the Nuggets have listed Peyton Watson and Spencer Jones as out. Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, and Christian Brown are listed as a game time decision as well. Some storylines for this game. This is Cavs and Nuggets' second matchup this season. In their last game on January 2nd, Cleveland defeated the Nuggets 113 to 108 behind 33 points from Donovan Mitchell. Both Denver and Cleveland ranked top 10 in offensive rating on the year. Denver ranks 1 in offensive rating, scoring 121 points per 100, and Cleveland ranks 6 in offense rating, scoring 117.2 points per 100. So hey, this is gonna be a banger, bro. It's gonna be an offensive
Yeah, this is
game.
it, bro.
Hopefully Jokic ended up going.
This
Obviously,
is it.
it's 8-14, so we don't really know. We haven't really checked it. But if he does, man, especially with the Harden transaction that went through that trade and seeing
All
how him
right.
and Donovan Mitchell
Sorry
lurking
about that.
in Denver though. But I think, oh man, I think I'm gonna
You
go with
like
the. I
Cleveland,
like
huh?
Cleveland. I like Cleveland, bro. Nuggets obviously dealing with that Peyton Watson injury. Obviously, Aaron Gordon's back, but what he was able to provide for them, um, they have a good roster. I think this is probably the deepest Denver roster we've seen. Obviously, the record kind of shows that with Jokic being out, Aaron Gordon being out, a lot of players not really being consistent. But I think I'm going with the Cavs, bro. I think Donovan Mitchell, James Harden are gonna, have another show us why they're probably one of the better backcourts in this league, and show us why they ended up getting him in this trade deadline. I think it's he's gonna make a huge difference. He's gonna take off that a lot of the ball handling duties that Donovan Mitchell usually is in. He's gonna be able to kind of exert more of his energy. Clutch time or whenever they need him to get a bucket, he could do it, and then James Harden can kind of spread the floor out and space it out as well. So I think I'm leaning Cavs, bro. I think it's gonna be a good game though, but leaning the Cavs away.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I'll switch the play. I'll go Nuggets. Give me the Nuggets in Ball Arena. Feel like if Jokic goes, which you probably will, because again, he can't miss games. Because why? He's
Because
already
of the
missed
game.
16 games. I
Hmm.
mean, yeah, if he wants to be the MVP, he gonna have to play. I feel like they're just having him on there as a cautionary tale. Give me the Nuggets. I feel like they've played a lot better than the Cavs have played. The Cavs got a W against the Kings, which was a BS win. We still haven't seen James Harden and Donovan Mitchell play real competition. So give me the Nuggets in this game.
Got it. Yeah, yeah. Hey, this is it. This is the game of the night for us.
Oh,
we
yeah,
got
it
that. We
just
got we got
yeah.
the yeah. It's a 9 p.m. tip off. It's the Thunder versus Lakers. The Thunder are missing Shea, AJ Mitchell, Nikola Topic, and Thomas Sorber. The Lakers are missing Luca and Thiero, and Aiton is listed as a game time decision as well. So obviously huge injuries for both of us. So not as hype as we usually would, but of course it's our team. It's our team playing nonetheless. So some storylines for this game though. Over their last 10 games, the Lakers are 7-3, while the Thunder are 5-5. This is the second matchup between the Lakers and Thunder this season, but the first without Luca or Shea. On November 12th, the Thunder dominated the Lakers 121-92 while shooting 50% from the floor. OKC still ranks first in overall net rating on the year with a plus 11.8, and LA ranks 16th with a dead even rating of 0. Oh man, this is
Yeah, right.
yeah, this is it, bro. I think this is man, I can't go against my team, bro. I got to go with the Thunder, man. But I think this is going to be a good
Yeah,
game. Obviously without being Shay and what I've been talking to y'all about this whole episode, I think this game for me is just kind of show what we're made of. Obviously, be y'all not having Luca is a huge loss, but you still have AR, you still have Braun, so I think y'all are gonna be rocking, in crypto. But I think the Thunder could keep up. It's gonna be a close game. I think defensively we'll still be able to play really well. It's just gonna be the offense. Like, are we gonna be able to knock down our shots? And funny enough, it seems like with the bench players playing, it looks like the offense is more fluid and the ball swings around more, and we're knocking down our shots more. Funny enough, without our best players on the court, but I think that's if we do that, I think we'll be able to keep up with y'all. But if we're missing shots and we're not able to stop AR or Braun, it's gonna be a long day. But I gotta rock with the Thunder, bro. Not the most confident in it, but I gotta rock with the boys nonetheless.
yeah, and that's a good take. I mean, I've said it. Lakers playing a lot better on defense. Thunder are very wishy-washy. It just depends on how they shoot threes. If they hit threes, if Jerry McCain and Isaiah Joe and a couple other guys can get going, we'll be in trouble. But um, Austin Reeves is expected to have a pretty big game, so I
Hmm.
expect him to go his full minutes low tonight. Obviously, LeBron being in the lineup as well doesn't hurt. Got to go with my Lakers, man. I feel like Aiton will be able to match up well against Chet, and we remember what happened, in our last game. It's not like these guys weren't there. Everybody knows we got pissed on. We blew out by 30, and I think that sits with you. You gotta. JJ is gonna say that before the game tonight. Guys are going to be excited for it. I think we got to seize the opportunity, man. So I'm going with LA. You know,
Of
We'll
course.
see, bro. I just hope we can get a W in Crypto.com arena, play some good defense, hold them to under 115 points. If we do that, we'll win.
Hmm.
I
Yes,
will
sir.
win. I know J Dub's in the lineup, so anything can happen, but we should win if we can do that. But
Hmm.
these are the last two games, man. These games are at 9 as well. We got the Grizzlies and Warriors. The Grizzlies are on the road. Warriors are at home. The Grizzlies have listed Ja Morant, Santi Aldama, Brandon Clark, and Zach Edey as out. Walter Clayton Jr. is also listed as a game time decision. The Warriors are without both Curry, so Steph Curry and Seth Curry, Kristaps Porzingis, and Jimmy Butler. So key injuries for them. But over the last 15 games, the Warriors ranked ninth in the NBA in overall net rating with a plus 3.6. However, they're just 8-7 over that span. The Grizzlies ranked 23rd in the NBA in overall net rating over their last 15 games with a minus 4.8. So, both teams are kind of struggling. They're hitting high water right now. Warriors, we haven't spoken about them since the Kuminga trade, but we could talk about that for a sec. I feel like they finally got off of Kaminga to get Porzingis, which doesn't make a lot of sense because Porzingis is hurt and
Doesn't.
older.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think they're sitting Curry as a precautionary tonight, so not really sure if he's hurt. But it is interesting to see where their dynasty has gone now. Even grabbing Porzingis feels like such a grab at the apple tree and
Hmm.
just a dream that may never materialize in the right way. But we'll have to see. And the Grizzlies, man, completely on the bottom side of the NBA right now. John Morant was able to sit through the entire trade deadline without moving. He's kind of the last man standing for the Grizzlies at the moment, but they haven't played extremely well, haven't had continuity the entire season. In fact, playing GG Jackson, Jalen Wells, guys like their younger guys has been more advantageous for them as opposed to playing, the John Morants, the Brandon Clarks, the guys that have been there for a long time, which
Hmm.
is, weird to say. I feel like they're kind of stuck in between directions of where they want to go. So I feel like that's interesting, something to keep an eye out for. But this is also the second matchup between the Grizzlies and the Warriors this season. In their last game on October 27th, the Warriors defeated the Grizzlies 131 to 118. Steph Curry went off in that game. I got to go with the Warriors, bro. I feel like even with them being hurt, Spencer Brothers is always going to be a battle. Pat versus Cam.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I just got to go with the Warriors. I feel like they have a more complete team, a more battle tested team in this regard. I feel like Moses Moody, a couple other guys are going to be going off. So give me the Warriors, man, in that late night game.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think I'm leaning them too, bro. I think Grizzlies, they have those young players that could pop off, GG Jackson, Jalen Wells, like you said, but I just don't think they have a competent enough roster to be able to keep up with even a Steph Curry less Warriors. I think they can once they get it going, keep the tempo up. Once they get their 3-point shots up, I think that you're going to be playing into the way that the Warriors like to play and their home. I think I'm going with the Warriors as well.
Yeah, brother, there you go. And they're at home, right? That's a,
Yeah.
that's a big one for the Dubs. I think them and the Nuggets are the best home teams, and the Celtics over the last like 5 years. They have so many wins at,
Hmm.
at Oracle. So shout out to the Warriors. But next and last game, final game, also at 9 p.m. 76ers versus Blazers. 76ers are on the road. Blazers are at home. The Blazers are missing Chris Murray, Shaden Sharp, Denny Avdia, uh, no, they're just missing Chris Murray and Shaden Sharp. Advia Williams the third and Henderson are listed as game time decisions. Hopefully those three guys end up going, but the Blazers will be missing Chris Murray and Shaden Sharp. The Sixers are missing Paul George, and obviously Embiid is listed as a game time decision. He's listed as a game time decision every game. Paul George is out due to a suspension, all that craziness. But storylines for this matchup over the last 5 games, the 76ers ranked seventh in the NBA net rating, the plus 8.3, and the Blazers ranked 24th in the NBA net rating over that same span with a minus 6.3. So 76ers been hooping a lot more recently. I spoke about it in the Lakers section. But Joel Embiid looks like Joel Embiid. We had a segment, I think it was called The Summer of Joel Embiid, but he's finally shaping up to look like himself. And that, VJ Max, obviously Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe have been a special duo this season. When you add Joel Embiid on top of that, it becomes a whole nother thing to worry about. So that's I think that's why the 76ers have had so much success over the last week or two. And the Blazers, bro, I feel like I don't know, they just haven't been as healthy recently. I know a lot of guys have been in and out of the lineup. Danny Avdia's been in and out of the lineup. So I feel like that's why their team is kind of tapered off over the last month or so. I think they do they have an outgoing pick this year that's might be top 10 protected, but
The
I
Trailblazers.
think I think they weren't originally going to keep their pick because they were so good, and now they've sucked so much that they are keeping their pick. So there's
Mm-hmm.
that as well. The 76ers rank fourth in the NBA in offensive rating over the last 5 games as well, scoring 120.4 points per 100. The Blazers ranked 25th in the NBA in defensive rating over that same span over the last 5 games, allowing opponents to score 122.2 points per 100. So 76ers are on fire on offense. Blazers are not on fire on defense. I got to get the 76ers in this one.
Same.
They barely lost to my squad the other day. One of the better road teams that we have in the NBA. I think a top 10 road team in the NBA. They play very well together. I think BJ Edgecombe now getting that full like starting role. Nobody to worry about. No more Jared McCain. No more Paul George. It's a whole different VJ. So I gotta go with the 76ers in this matchup, bro.
Yeah, yeah, I'm leaning the Sixers as well. Like you said, Trailblazers haven't really had their full roster really for a while. Denny's been in and out the lineup. Sixers, the way they've been playing, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, like you said, and if Joel Embiid goes, he's gonna give Donovan Clean hell. So off of
Oh
that
yeah,
alone, if Embiid is for sure, even without, I think I'm still leaning Sixers though. I think Tyrese Maxey is gonna have a great game. What he's been able to do all season, just everyone on that roster complements the way he plays. So I think they just have better continuity, a better
100%.
overall unit, and I think the Sixers will get this dub tonight as well.
100%. I love it. Let's go into the storylines of the week. Lots of good stuff has been happening. I know we've been chopping it up about some of the same teams recently just because they made trades. That won't always be the case, but I mean, we did want to talk about Harden, right? I feel like
Hmm.
the Kings game, supposedly okay, so the Clippers played Cleveland the day after the trade.
Hmm.
Harden stayed because Harden was in LA. The game was in LA. Harden just stayed with Cleveland. They just swapped teams. He
Hmm.
said goodbye to all the people in the facility, but then went home with Cleveland after that game versus the Clippers. And I guess Harden and Garland didn't play.
Hmm.
Harden then goes to Sacramento, ends up playing, drops 15 points in the fourth quarter alongside Donovan Mitchell. They end up having this really big game. I think I think it'll be a good trade, bro. I think for this season, it'll be good for the Cavs. It'll improve their roster. But let's chop it up about the Clippers for a second. The Los Angeles Clippers entered the All Star break at a crossroads because of this reason, after a franchise altering decision to trade James Harden for Darius Garland with the Cavs. And this is the one we have not spoken about, Ivica Zubac for picks with the Pacers.
Hmm.
That's another key trade, one of the more underrated trades in the NBA. Ivica Zubac is a top 10 center in this league. And for the Pacers to get him for pretty much, 60 cents on the dollar
Mm-hmm.
kind of speaks to where the Clippers are at right now. But the Clippers made this decision despite being one of the hottest teams in the league. Leading into February, they were 13-6 since January 1st. Harden had stabilized their offense, averaging 25.4 points per game and 8.1 assists per game, while Zubac anchored the paint, averaging 14.4 points per game and 11 rebounds per game even. This makes the timing of the move feel a little bit jarring given the Clippers' recent momentum. The fallout has shifted the Clippers from potential, I could say, play-in team to pretty much, I would now say, hopeless for this season. I think they'll be searching for their identity, and what's interesting about it is Kawhi Leonard has played brilliantly.
Yep.
We spoke about it on this pod, but he's probably had the best season of his career in terms of gameplay, numbers wise, efficiency wise, just in totality. And it's interesting because now, of course, the house is burning down. They have that thing with aspiration and everything that's going on. But that's a whole separate thing. But I just feel like they'll be searching for their identity and who they really are, and that'll have to be at the expense of Kawhi Leonard. We'll see if he can shoulder the burden, if him and Darius Garland can be that duo that the Clippers are expecting them to be. Because ultimately, I think that performance against the Timberwolves kind of shows you Kawhi's ability to carry a team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think, like I said, he's been brilliant this year. I think he's averaging 28 points per game, 6.3 rebounds on 49.5% shooting from the field. Some of the long-term stakes for the Clippers, though, you know this, are amplified by the fact that the Clippers still owe that Oklahoma City lottery pick
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be due. There's really no margin for error in this case, and I feel like the Clippers just profile as a super volatile team, especially post All Star break. I don't know what I'm going to get with this squad. They lack a ton of depth now. Their front court is extremely weak. After trading Zubac, I would argue they have one of the weakest front courts in the
Mm-hmm.
NBA. I love Brooke Lopez, I love Niederhauser, but like those guys are not starting caliber. Ivica Zubac was the only reason they had a good front court, and now
Mm-hmm.
they're extremely weak there. Darius Garland and Kawhi Leonard are going to be expected to carry this entire offense for the Clippers. No Beal, Bogdanovich is in and out of the lineup. I think John Collins has been okay this season, so I'll give
Mm-hmm.
him credit for that. But man, I mean, I think the Clippers ceiling really relies on how high can Kawhi Leonard take you. Wherever he takes you, you're gonna go. If that's
Mm-hmm.
the first round of the playoff exit, that's the first round of the playoff exit. If that's the Western Conference Finals, that's the Western Conference Finals. But the Clippers, bro, it's just after trading away Harden and Zubac, it's just hard for me to see. Even in the future, I thought Zubac was still gonna be there.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're gonna have to find a center, bro. I don't know what it's gonna look like in LA, at least for the Clippers wise. And I know it's gonna look like at my LA. We got Luca, but
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe Kawhi might leave. I wouldn't be shocked to see Beal leave as well. I just feel like they have the chance to completely rework their roster and blow it up because I think Kawhi Leonard being there is the last domino to fall. Darius Garland obviously came in as James Harden's replacement, but I feel like the Cavs got a lot better, and then now Clippers got a lot better for their future, and 5 years, 6 years out.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
man, right now it looks bleak, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I was about to say, obviously, I think we talked about it as well. But kind of seeing all the other dominoes fall, like you said, Vitor Zubac being traded. I think that once I saw that, I was like, wow, the Clippers are kind of tossing away the season because, like you said, they were one of the hottest team at a certain point of the year. Turning their season around. They were bottom four in the West. Now they're competing for that play-in spot, and I think that was you know it was very obviously we know why they ended up trading Harden and whatnot, but just kind of seeing how everything ends up turning on a dime, and ends up your season's kind of like, well, it's up in the air now. Like you said, Kawhi's having probably games played statistically what he's been able to do this whole season. Probably one of his better seasons as a whole, and I think it's kind of they showed us what the direction that they're going in at this point. They're trying to rebuild. Obviously, we have their pick,
Right.
so I don't know exactly how they're going to rebuild, especially Kawhi being I think he has after this year he has another year, and then DG has 2 more years after this year. So you have DG there, like you said, got better for a future. You have your future guard, or you have your guard of the future on your roster now. James Harden being on the older side, like you said, helps the Cavs get a lot better in the moment. But for the Clippers, I think it's finding finding the pieces that you're going to want to keep around, and just hopefully you're going to be able to get a free agent pickup, because at this point, not having any draft capital in this, or not having that first round pick, that is potentially going to be a lottery pick. That's kind of where I'm assuming, with the way the roster looks now, you're in a tricky spot. I think that's kind of the you reap what you sow. You wanted to get Kawhi and PG. You gave up your future,
Yeah.
and this is kind of the downside of that. Obviously, at the moment, great. Two of the best two-way players in at the time in the league in that moment, but didn't really happen. Kawhi is the only one left, and now you're kind of left with the scraps. Not trying to be disrespectful, but if the whole situation. But now you're kind of betting on a free agent wanting to come here, and I mean I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know any superstars that are gonna want to go to the
They
other
don't want
LA
to go to the
team.
Clippers.
You know
Yeah,
what I
they
mean?
don't want.
So realistically, I don't know. Like their future is really up in the air. I don't know what they can do. Obviously, they would have to, if it's trading Kawhi, potentially getting a pick or getting a good player in return. But I don't really know
I would.
what that looks like for them. Honestly, like to try to rebuild.
Yeah,
It's they don't really have much to get a lot of assets in return for their players. So it sucks, or it doesn't really suck because I'm not a Clippers fan, but it's crazy seeing how
it sucks for them.
it
It
sucks
sucks
for
for them,
them.
right?
It sucks for them, and it sucks for the fans because I feel like it's always they have been pretty decent for a solid decade. They've always kind of been in the playoff hunt. With the Lob City era, they were competing for make it to the Western Conference Finals. That's where they were trying to go, and this and that, and that kind of shifted into even those first years that Ty Lue started coaching with like um Montrezl Harrell, the early years, Shea, that
Lou
era,
will.
Lou Will, so they've always been competing. It's just it's getting to that next level, and I think obviously now blew up the roster, have one guy left from that era, trying to build around not young guys but younger, 26, is DG's the youngest, and then you have you do the rookie they drafted this year, but I don't really see. I mean, obviously they can. They got Steve Ballmer. They got good money. It's just if they're willing to go into that second apron luxury tax, and I think they're gonna probably be one of the teams that have to do that if they want to compete. Soon, but I don't think that's really in their future. But they put themselves in a situation where you can't rely on being bad and using your draft pick because you don't have it. So tough times, bro. It's kind of hard to really see how they're going to bounce back from the situation that they're in. Anytime soon. It might take them 3-4 years to kind of really get back to where they were at, unless someone signs here. But with the roster that they have, it's kind of it's hard for me to say that. Yeah, this team is going to be like a
Yeah, like
play-in team.
confidently.
So
Yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah, and like for where the Pacers and Cavs will be next season, we'll see. I
Hmm.
think trading Ivica Zubac was another big loss, and they didn't really win in that regard. They didn't get like 2, 3 first-round picks from him. They got a
Mm-mm.
couple seconds, I think a first from the Pacers. There's
Mm.
there's better offers on the table. I feel like they're kind of in a fire sale, to be honest. And we'll get off the topic. I know you guys don't want to hear Clippers for 20 minutes, but I think it's just interesting because James Harden, Ivica Zubac, if you would have told me they were getting traded 2 months ago, I would have said absolutely not.
Right.
So just kind of goes to show you how quickly things can change in this league, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I know, it's wild.
Yeah. But yeah, I will. Well, I guess we'll move on to the MVP update. I know we haven't spoke about it in like a month, and I think we spoke about it like a month into the season, but it's been a
Mhm.
couple months since then. Uh, Lots of weeks, but yeah, we got the MVP ladder. It really hasn't changed much. Just injuries have impacted it a little bit, but CJ, I'll let you get into number three. We'll work our way up,
For sure,
and
for
you'll
sure.
take it away.
At number 3, we have Nikola Jokic. Jokic might be number 1 if it wasn't for a hyperextended knee that kept him out for 16 games. Only 2 games shy from being disqualified from the NBA awards entirely. Regardless, the Joker continues to dazzle. The day he returned from his injury, he reminded everyone why he's on this list. Jokic in his first game back put up monster numbers versus the Clippers. He scored 31 points, had 12 rebounds, and dished out 5 assists in only 25 minutes. On the season, Nikola Jokic is having his most efficient season of his career, PER of 35.5, which means he's having the most efficient season in NBA history since he's in a league of his own. Jokic is averaging 28.9 points per game, 12.2 rebounds a game, and 10.7 assists for per game, a triple double. The only question for Jokic is, will he push for his fourth MVP, or will he rest up for the playoffs? Well, he's the Joker. We will see. I feel like that's the
We'll
beauty
see.
with the Joker, man. I don't think he really cares about the MVPs. I think he's going for the chip. But I mean, if you're trying to get that fourth MVP of your career, I think it's kind of a statement being
It
made,
matters a little.
So
Yeah,
he's one of those type of guys where you just don't know. We don't really can't gauge it. I wouldn't be surprised though. You brought it up earlier whenever we were going over like the game preview, right, of him playing. If he wants to win that MVP, he's gonna play damn near every game for the rest of the year. He can only miss two
yeah,
more,
and
so
he can do it.
he can.
By the way,
That's what I'm
guys,
saying.
like
He could definitely do it.
it's he. I think he would be one if he hadn't gotten hurt, but he did. So he's three, and I said I had a hot take of the beginning of the season. I was like, Jokic isn't going to pass three. I mean, he did, but technically he hasn't because he's been at three for so long. But yeah, bro, he's been brilliant this season. He's having the best career. I I think he's having the best season of his career in terms of his standards. Wouldn't say it's like I don't know. Sometimes I watch him drop a 30-point triple double, and it's like it doesn't look like he's trying still. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think for how good the Nuggets have been, it also hurts his case a little bit just because they do have more depth this
Hmm.
season as opposed to last year, especially. Now with Jonas Valanciunas, Peyton Watson, obviously
Hmm.
all those guys on the Nuggets. So yeah, I just think Nikola Jokic being at three. I mean, the MVP ladder came out yesterday. We reposted on Three Man Weave's Instagram, and I mean, Jokic is, I think they have him like middle,
Hmm.
just sitting there at
So
three.
there.
So he's ready to pounce. Could be number one if he hadn't got that injury. So Nuggets fans, you guys got to go. You guys got to go. But let's move on to number two, man. I mean, this is my guy right here. Yeah, Luka Doncic. Doncic is still the dominant we saw in Dallas. Luka has been scorching over the past month, bringing in Player of the Month honors for January while averaging 34 points per game, 7.2 rebounds per game, and 9.1 assists per game on 50% shooting from the field and 39% from deep. The Lakers are 32-19 this season, good for fifth place in the West, and Luka has been the main catalyst for the Lakers' success this season. On the year, Luka Doncic leads the NBA in points per game, averaging 32.8 points a night. Doncic is also second in the NBA in total assists, averaging 8.6 times per contest. Doncic is primed to overtake Gilgis Alexander for first place if injury luck doesn't fall in his favor. Will Luka win his first MVP this season? Uh, you guys know who's number one. We're not gonna, I kind of spoiled it, but you guys know, obviously, the best team in the NBA, best player. But will Luka win his MVP? For the first time in his career, I think there is a chance with this injury to Shea, and we spoke about that twice now. I think we spoke about it on the episode that dropped. We also spoke about it again in this episode, but that injury changes the NBA landscape a lot. Luka won Player of the Month for January, and now coming around All Star break, Shea's out. Jokic is also 2 games away from missing. It's like
Mm.
Luka's part
It's
of the Red
his
Sea for Luka.
hmm
Yeah, like
perfect
Luka,
opportunity for Luca.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
the. I was gonna say there has not been an opportunity in Luka's career to obtain this MVP award. Like I mean, like it is now. I think he's played the most games out of anybody on this list. Um, he's been fairly healthy this season. I think he's missed like 7 games. I think this is his eighth and ninth. So he's approaching. He's also like up there. I
Hmm.
know. I think Shea has missed the least games technically, but Shea will end up missing more than
More,
Luca
yeah,
probably.
yeah.
But like the point is, all three of these guys are probably going to be close to the games limit.
Hmm.
I think the question is, does the NBA make a rule change? Maybe, I don't know. But I do know that the MVP is calling Luca's name, calling
Hmm.
his number for the first time in his career. Yeah, I mean, 32 points a night, almost averaging a triple double. I think it's like 7 rebounds, almost 9 assists per night. He's been awesome. So, I mean, he's been the main reason why he's been so successful, and getting him in that trade, even for AD, it's been crazy, bro.
Yeah.
It's been crazy. It's still crazy seeing him on the team.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I that's Luca was my MVP pick at the beginning of the before the season started, so the fact that, the circumstances has never been set up for Luka better than it is right now. Obviously, the injury that he got last game doesn't help, but I think with Shea being gonna miss some time, Jokic has missed some time. Luka's in a perfect spot to where if he does get to one, it's gonna be hard to pass him because he's gonna put up the numbers, and if the Lakers are winning as well, you know what I mean. So he's in that situation
Yeah,
where he
yeah.
kind of he holds his own fate. You know, it's all in his hands at this point. If he could go out there do what he's been doing, and the Lakers are winning, and Shea, it isn't playing as many games, then he's gonna bump up, and I think it's gonna be hard for Shea to overtake Luka just because the numbers he puts up, and if the Lakers are still competing, top four in the West, I would say
Winning
it's
games,
gonna
yeah.
it's gonna be hard to really go against that. So like I said, this is his time, bro. This is Luka's moment. If he wants to get this MVP, that like he's gonna have to do what he's been doing all season. But I think it just more so stay at the same maintain the same production that he's had all year. And I don't think, like I said, Luka isn't the type of player where he's gonna just fall off the side of a cliff. He's gonna put up those numbers regardless. I think it just team winning and obviously his health. If he can keep that good, then he can easily take this,
He'll
bro.
be
So
fine.
I mean, and
Yeah.
that's kind of why I had him winning this year, just because of the situation, him having that full season with the Lakers. Obviously, I didn't think Jokic was going to get injured. That is kind of like the wild card for the MVP race this year. But Shea getting injured as well, that's another thing. So I think this is Luka's opportunity, bro. I had it predicted it at the beginning of the season, and I would not be surprised, bro. Especially if he just keeps up the production, the statistically what he's been able to do, and just obviously it's going to contribute to some wins as well. So it's his moment, bro. It's a Luca show,
Yes,
like
sir.
we said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nah, Luka's been awesome, bro. It's still surreal to see him, on the Lakers, but I think even for having like LeBron and AR in the lineup to still put up 34 points
Over
while those guys are putting up 27 and
yeah.
28 a night, you gotta also think about that too. Shea doesn't have anybody scoring 30 a
Mhm.
night
Yeah.
on his team.
No, 100%, bro. So
So we'll see.
yeah. Yeah, that was the MVP race update. Obviously
Yes,
might
sir.
change a little bit, but that
Yeah.
injury,
And
but
yeah, and you guys know like with Shea, he's been number one pretty much all year. And now, I mean, the only thing holding him back from not being number one is just that injury, like CJ said. And hopefully the Thunder are able to recover after the All-Star break. But yeah, it's just the Jokic and Doncic conversation right now because Gilgeous Alexander's been number one for uh, probably lots of weeks,
yeah, I would say
30 weeks or
majority.
something.
I
Like
think
going back to last year, I think he's been one the whole time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a moment where Jokic was one, I
Jokic,
believe.
yeah, it was this season. Yeah,
But it's still,
oh,
like
yeah,
you
you're
said, that
right.
was probably like a week or two time frame, and then he's pretty much been able to, be at the top all year prior to this injury,
Yeah,
of course. But yeah,
yes,
bro.
sir. Yeah, bro. Just tell us about Dynasty, man,
Yeah, as I
because
say, um,
yeah,
yes,
lots of good stuff with that.
I was about to say, bro. I went against Tristan, which is ZD's brother. Shout out to the boy. I know he watches the pod, so appreciate you for watching. But I had to lock in, man. I needed to get that dub. I think he's been second to third, and same with me. Like we will flip flop. I think at a certain point I was like fourth, but he was second and I was third. So I needed to get this dub to potentially get this first week bye.
Yeah,
We
like
have
flip
playoffs
flop
come.
them. That's interesting. Yeah,
But yeah, no, it's been I had to do some high IQ plays, bro. So two of my players were injured. I think it was Denny and OG was injured, so I had to make a business decision. Took Caleb Love off of my tax or dropped him from my team. He was in my taxi spot. Moved Kobe White to my taxi since he's out. So I was like, okay, that whenever he comes back, I'll probably just bring him out and then move one of the other players that I picked up. Picked up Will
that's smart.
Riley and
Taxi maneuvering.
Sandro Mamukulashvili.
Yeah, Mamu
Mamu.
Kazvili.
ended up barely winning. So granted, I had to fight for this dub, but Tristan had Jarris Walker. I think he ended up getting him like 20 some or like 16, 20 some points. And then the two players that I had picked up that ended up playing Sunday ended up getting me the dub, bro. 410 to 401. I think Tristan ended up having we have our weekly report that we always get, and it's most
Yeah,
points scored in a loss. That was him. So I had to really lock in, bro. I had to make a couple moves, but I think it was good. I'm trying to get that first week bye, especially with my roster. Everyone's kind of missing time. Shay's missing time. Denny's missing time. From's missing time. I think he just returned today. OG. Sabonis hasn't really played for me. That's looking like
man,
probably one of
Sabonis
my.
has been a
I was about to
ghost.
say that's
He's
probably
been
been
a
my
ghost.
worst pick this year. I'm not gonna lie, but
He has been a horrible.
been
And you
a
can't drop him,
I
right?
can't, or I might be able to, but I don't want to because he could
Yeah, I don't
still
want to.
have that those games where he pops off. But I think it's just kudos to myself. I think being savvy and making the right moves is why I won last week. Because if I would have just left it and assumed OG or one of my players was gonna play, it's gonna
Yeah,
put
you
me in
would have gotten
situation. I would have caught
chalked.
an L. So kudos to myself. I would say I think I've been pretty good about picking up certain players like spot starters. I think that was really what these guys were. But I was able to get Will Riley and Gigi Jackson. So I might keep one of them. I think they're going to be one of those type of players. Gigi Jackson, especially, I think he's going to have a lot more opportunities.
Uh,
And then Will Riley was
he's
popping off.
young.
But obviously, the Wizards had a lot of injuries. So he might be the one I have to drop whenever my roster gets fully healthy. But no, yeah, it's had to be savvy and was able to get my dub. I locked in Stephon Castle's game before he went popped off and had a 40-point triple double. So that was another, didn't expect it. I was just in a mode this week to where I got to get my points where I can. You know what I mean? Was being pretty conservative. I think I could have ended up if I would have got 100% on my hit rate. The potential points I had was like 502. So shout out to my team, bro. I thought I was gonna catch an L this week. Was able to scrape out this dub, and now I'm in second place. I think it's just gotta kind of keep up the foot on the gas. I'm going against Mike this week, and he is another playoff team. So kind of ending the season off tough, but I think it's just gonna get me ready for the playoffs. That's what I'm ready for, and hopefully I'll be able to get a dub this week and get that second seed, bro. Because I think that'll set me up pretty nicely, get my team healthy, and hopefully they bounce back. Because I think playoffs are 2 weeks, right, as well. So I'll have that. If I have that first week bye, I'll have 2 full weeks for my players to get
Yes, sir.
healthy and get everything going. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for at this point, man. I'm locked in. I'm ready. I'm ready for the playoffs. I think I can make a good push, and I have a good
There
roster.
you
It's
go.
just them being healthy, bro. It's like with the Thunder all season, but I've been able to get good pickups. Good. Peyton Watson was one of my big pickups this season. I think. Obviously Denny, Julius Randle, great pick drafts for me, but just been active, man. I picked up Aaron Wiggins last week because all our players were injured and I didn't have a guard since Shea got out, but was able to pick him up. I think he got me like 53 points. He had like 5 steals. So just being, trying to be savvy, bro. Obviously Thunder were a lot of men down, and obviously I'm a Thunder fan, but had to pick him up, had to get someone on that roster just to try to get me points because I knew someone was going to, and didn't I don't think he scored that many like actual points in that game, but just with our fantasy defense, steals, blocks, any of that, you get more points for that. So he was able to give me a 50 bomb. So shout out to Aaron Wiggins. He saved basketball once again for in my dynasty league. So shout out to a boy, but I'm sitting pretty nice right now, 12-4. So can't complain. I like where I'm at, and hopefully I get a dub this week, and I'll get that first week by.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man, I had a pretty good week as well. I had like 400 something points. My team's been playing a lot better. I think I got unlucky earlier in the year. I'll probably end up playing my brother in the first round of the playoffs, but I've been playing like scrubs. I think I played Ari. I played Scales this week. Scales is like 12th in the league, so I'm sitting in sixth right now. I had a couple pop off games from Cooper Flag and VJ Edgecombe. Um, Tamani Kumara and Jared Allen, a couple other guys have been able to step up in a big time way. And I feel like De'Aaron Fox doesn't get the love he deserves. He's been consistently putting up,
Dude.
40, 45, 50 points for me a night. So um, I have one of the more consistent teams in our league and one of the more underrated teams who like consistently outperforms their projections. I think I was the most efficient manager last week as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting the max amount of points from my guys usually tends to add up to wins. So I've been winning the last couple weeks. I think I'm on a 2-game, 3-game winning streak as of now. Should finish out the season pretty strong, and I'll end up making the playoffs. But I like the 6th seed because that's like halfway. So I'm not top five, but I'm also not like 10, 11,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So like I'll take it, man. If I can't get out of the first round, it is what it is. Told you, you spoke about it to me off record, but Caleb Wilson, Koa Pete,
Mm.
Arizona's number, like there's guys that are going to be available outside of the top three, so just got to be wary of that. But I'm not expecting my team to win the dynasty championship like CJ, but I do got an opportunity to like make some noise, like upset some people, make them,
Mm-hmm.
push them back further in the draft, and that's something I look forward to doing. So hopefully I can do that. But yeah, Cooper Flag's been just amazing for me, and that generational tag he's been living up to. I think he's far and away the best rookie I've seen since LeBron. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy because you made that trade with your brother. It'd be very ironic if y'all end up going against each other in the first round of the playoffs. That'd be something that I'm not gonna lie, that's gonna be like you said, you're not expecting to make it to the championship, whatever, but you can be someone that ruins a team's
yeah, I
season,
can
and I think
for
you have that
sure.
roster that has like it's a good roster. It has the capability of doing it. Like you said, you've been able to put up 400 weeks and you were wanting to tank, so it's crazy how you wanted to get the top pick and then now you're more than likely gonna make the playoffs. But I know once you make it there, it's gonna be a different mentality once you're in that mode. So I'm excited, bro. I'm really
We're trying
excited
to
to
play.
see trying to see what these playoffs look like, how it shapes up, and get it popping, bro. The whole season
Yeah,
we've been working for it, and I think pretty good record for my
17
first
weeks.
season. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, you did awesome. I think we knew you were gonna be good at fantasy basketball, but yeah, for the people at home, try Dynasty Hoops. It's fun. Yeah, that's the way I'll leave it off, man. You
Mhm.
go download Sleeper,
Yup.
play some fantasy hoops, watch basketball. You guys know the drill.
Yes, sir. Well, if y'all liked and enjoyed this episode, 3 Man Week, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time, man. Peace. Three
Peace.
man, three man,
Three
three
man,
man,
three
three
man.
man.